All right, so here is the recording for my game math assignment. I'm gonna try to do a quick walkthrough. Basically, we just followed along. I went a little bit extra because I ended up creating a little bit more of an expandable system. So I'll play this and we can see. So you get the game math examples that we went through up here in the text with the time since startup. You get the frame count, the sine wave, the algebra thing. I think I made a little first-person character controller just because that was more fun, and also you can get the overall scene by the scene view like this, you know. So we'll expand this just a little bit, like Unreal. Cool. So if you go first person, you get this. This is based on a sine wave going back and forth. This thing points to it using Euler angles, and these guys face the direction and rotate with quaternions and blah blah blah, stuff like that. So basically, it's a little worker system that they spawn in their little zones one at a time in different zones, and as you can see, they're picking. I'll go through how it's picking the thing, but they have slightly different colors and stats and stuff like that. They have levels, and I made a little state machine for them. So and there's a time of day. So okay, see the sun comes up. Okay, now they're going. They're doing their pre-work task. Then they get called into work. They go work. These are black market dealers. They're just patrolling. Kind of my patrol script is totally shit. And the move to location. It's a little easier to see if I exit out and I change the time of day in Game Manager. We can set the time of day to, let's say, 60 seconds per day. Then we open that bad boy up, and now you can see a little more clearly like what's going on. So while they're working, they gain experience, which can be changed with an experience curve and everything. I'm going to be honest, I do have it set up for the scriptable objects, as you can see down here. Actually, maybe you can see it in TextForge Visualizer. So you can see they have NPC data. They have names and they have body colors right now, and that's it. But obviously this could be expanded to move speed or anything really, level up. It's all so these are cowboys and they herd cows. So they're working and they're gonna level up. See, level 2, they leveled up because they're getting experience while they work. They don't get experience if they're like on their way to and from work. After work they go home. Then they do a post like at home activity, which right now I think is just sleep, which just has them there. And sleep really should make their eyes stop blinking and go to that. But I made a little blink script because these little cuties need to blink. I got some of them just have a random mover brain, so they're not clued into the worker lifestyle where they're getting their worker NPC on. And I have them spawned as well because the way I set up the spawning system is that you can put an NPC prefabs in here. So one is like a black market worker, one's a cowboy, and one is these like random movers, which could be any, could be chickens, could be just idiots. I don't know, little bald idiots. So these guys corral little cows and stuff like that. And I thought I'd go over the code just a little bit since that's what we are here for. And so basically the way I made it is I have these NPCs. The NPC script's like pretty simple. It's just got some basic data in it, keeps them facing the right way, stuff like that. Then they each have a brain, which this has I'm using some inheritance here. So I've got like a NPC brain, then I got a job worker brain, and then what we really want, which is the specific job. So black market dealers, they do like very specific things. Obviously with inheritance you get pretty small scripts usually. So and the cowboys, they work a little bit differently. And then with the job guys, they can have an NPC job, which is another kind of abstract class that gets more defined. Sorry, I'm kind of moving around a lot, but these jobs are pretty they can be configurable, but basically they get executed with this task, the work on job task, which gets them executed, makes them level up, and etc. And it can run a subtask, which is why you don't see work on job as the status that they're running. You actually see the subtask instead, which I kind of wanted both, but whatever. It just wasn't worth it to fix it, so it gives you a better debug. That was good enough. And then I just have these little tasks, like they got loiter, move to a location, random move, sleep, blah, 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 and they can be totally configured. So in theory, I would need to update the table forge, obviously, but you should be able to do some shenanigans to be able to, like if you click on one of these NPCs, you can go down and you get a brain job worker script, right? So you get all these, you end up getting the schedule, right? So you can have a start hour, end hour for each of these, right? And then you can select what kind it is as sleep pre-work. If this isn't perfect, I think I'd go back and maybe do another pass, but you can keep like adding these, obviously. So then they can do things at different times. The kind is one of those things where it's like I started one way and then ended up doing it another way, to just time periods or whatever. So this maybe just would be a label instead of a enum here or something. But you got some really simple stuff. And then when you start like work, you do the go to location, and then it ties in with like an event, Unity events and stuff like that, to where it can, all of the tasks can say, hey, I'm finished, hey, I'm canceled, hey, whatever. So when the go to location actually triggers finished, then it starts the next one. So it kind of gets a queue within these work time periods or whatever. It starts a queue, but then when it goes to the next time period, it'll just cancel out of whatever it's in and get interrupted by the next thing. Which right now the next thing is like sleep pre-work, whatever, and you can go in and edit these. My goal would be probably to make like a drop down of the different tasks and have it more that way. Like if I was going to rework it, if I was going to do another couple hours or something to work on this, then I would have the schedule be like these tasks. So like go to location, that. But of course that would require a lot more editor stuff to be friendly with like what location do they go to, etc. To not have to go into code and do it. But in theory, you should be able to do that. And more importantly, like even if it's not in the editor, the idea is that you could edit it in the Excel spreadsheet, which would have also kind of taken another level. So I didn't end up implementing that, as you could see from the table forge window. I didn't implement that because it would have required some processing to get from, a string or something in Excel to actually adding the script, the gameplay task onto the thing when it was made. I'm certain I could do it, but it would have been a little bit more work, and so I just ended up not doing it. I mean, so as you can see, these guys level up. They only get to level 2 right now, and then they stop, but in theory, the levels are also able to be defined in this level data. See, but I just have one level data that's being set, level 1, but this can also be imported in table forge, which is the kind of last thing we did in class. And so I did implement it, I just didn't end up exporting it, add the data. I implemented it, I put a test data in, it worked, and then I moved on from there. But it is editable, and as you can see, my patrol script around here is totally terrible and has messed up their axis of where they are going, so there is definitely some bugs to be worked out. But and I got the directional light working and the nav mesh working, and I guess this guy's cowboy is really loving this cow, so that's it. Maybe we shouldn't be watching that. Yeah, and then I added a little first-person character controller that went really poorly, so we could walk around and watch them work. So anyway, obviously, like, I did a lot of scripts for this, but it was pretty fun. I just stayed a couple hours after class and expanded on the system. you know, and made like a little bit more complicated like time of day system where you can advance the time. I actually added these debugs in, and then it was like I never used them, but in theory you could hook some stuff up on the time of the day in the editor. I meant to add them in the editor but forgot. Where when you're like debugging this, you could set the time of day to see like, you know, oh, is this NPC gonna work or whatever, but it was fine. Anyway, fun little simulation. Game math. Game math was obviously used throughout to get where they're facing, and then of course I just, you know, of course I started with just the stuff that you can still see up there on the UI overlay. That's just purely game math outputting to itself, outputting to the UI as it runs, and moves these little like pointy angle things around and stuff. So I don't know. I think that is probably it. So I'll end there. Not take up too much of your time. It's probably already too long.